You are listening to Strictly Biased with Will Rutherford. On today's podcast, Will previews the NFL season. And here's Will.
Welcome to Strictly Biased with yours truly, Will Retherford, here at stage. I believe we called this 20 for Tyrese Halliburton and Andrew Nimhard.
That's right.
A few moons ago, but I am joined today by an esteemed guest. The bloodline of the Central Indiana Sports Report. That would be Greg Mengelt.
Your co-host today.
Thank you for joining me as co-host. Greg, I have a ton to say this evening, but first, what would you like to know?
Here's my question, Will.
Okay.
What's the most absurd prediction you're about to make?
My most absurd prediction is that the New England Patriots are going to be closer to winning the AFC East than having a top 5 draft pick in next year's NFL draft.
I wouldn't say that's absurd, except for that they're not anywhere near Buffalo. The only way that happens is if Josh Allen is injured.
This is where I think it's absurd. Is that I think the New England Patriots are going to make the playoffs. And I think that there'll be a game out. I think it'll come down to the wire. I think they're going to win 12 games. Currently, as we speak, right at this
I'm
very
taking that
moment,
bet right now.
At this very moment, the New England Patriots are favored in 11 of their 17 games. Go look at their schedule and tell me it's horrible. They play one of the easiest NFL schedules that I've seen based on what we think these teams are going to be.
I'll do you a favor, Will. I'll put it at 10.5, and I'll take the under, and I challenge you to take the over.
I'll take the over. I think Vrabel is going to do it.
That team's too young, too many holes.
So what was not absurd is now absurd? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. 12 wins is absurd.
Okay.
Yeah. If you tell me the Patriots are going to sneak into the playoffs, sure. They've got a nice young quarterback who could turn a corner, and they got too many holes. You got a new coaching staff. It doesn't happen that fast usually.
Well,
we'll see.
What I want you to think about is Stephon Diggs has been traded twice to turn young quarterbacks into stars, and it's happened a third time with him being in New England. I think just watch. Whatever Stephon Diggs does, he becomes a diva and a prima donna, but when the going's good, the going's great, and he seems to just be able to make quarterbacks into their best self.
I am so happy you're counting on Stephon Diggs to get the Patriots over 10.5 games. Good luck with that one.
I'm not. It's not Stephon Diggs. I just have faith in Mike Vrabel. I think that the Titans firing him is one of the worst decisions that I have seen an NFL front office make in the last 10 years. It was just absolutely crazy what he did for those Titans.
They should have been signing him to an extension.
Absolutely.
And they fired him.
Absolutely. All because the owner didn't like that Vrabel wanted control of football operations and said, okay, well, we'll go hire Joe Schmo, Callahan from the Bengals, and see if he can be an offensive whisperer, and you saw how that worked out last year. I just think that you have faith in the people that you have. You know the kind of personality, and you saw the coach he was on the field and what he did. He took teams that had no business.
Absolutely. No doubt about that.
To the number one seed in the AFC playoffs.
Before we get to the rest of your predictions,
okay,
and we're going to do it your way, which is going to be very hard for me, just so you know.
Okay.
Backing off is going to be very hard for me. But I want to know if you think, as of today, the Colts are a playoff team.
No.
Okay. So you've changed your mind a little.
Yeah.
You were the most optimistic of everybody.
Pessimistically optimistic in the best way I can say it. I've been honest, and I've been, I think, kind of spot on with a lot of the things I've said regarding the Colts and what they've done for the better part of the last 2 years. And I just don't see it. I thought I saw the vision, and I don't see the vision.
My fear is that Daniel Jones is good enough that they sign him long-term as what's his ceiling? 9th best quarterback in the NFL. If he reached absolute pinnacle Daniel Jones, 9th to 11th best quarterback in the NFL.
He's the 4th best quarterback in his division.
Right. But we've seen Daniel Jones, and he has some tools. Everybody knows that. That's why he was a high pick. I know a lot of people who liked him out of college. I didn't. But let's say he fulfills everything the Giants thought he was going to be when they drafted him. what's he bet? 9th best quarterback in the NFL to 11th, 15th.
That's generous.
15th.
That's generous.
Exactly.
15th to 18th, probably.
But if he's that good, they probably sign him.
Well, that will be just continuing the management malpractice that they've been doing for the last 7 years. And
let's hope the new management comes in and just changes all that.
I hope so.
And well, I really don't want to be this guy. I'm too old to be this guy, but let's just have it implode. Can we just have it implode starting Sunday?
Well, I've been told that I have to be more optimistic, but I don't see it. So the most optimistic way I can say it, this team will be good enough to be okay and bad enough to not be good.
Perfect way to put that. And I think, honestly, Will, the best case scenario is a lot of losses.
For the organization moving forward,
That's what I mean. And it's championship or bust in my life now. You know, I have no time to fiddle with 10 and 7 teams anymore.
Well,
this is ridiculous.
That's interesting because you've been a Pacers fan for so long, but I think that they've shown what it can look like. I've never been on a losing run as fun as that Pacers team did for us. So I won't say that I'm championship or bust, but
you're absolutely right.
But it's not
championship or bust or something so entertaining that we couldn't even have imagined it going in. How about that?
I think that's fair. So, Greg, I want to start off. You challenged me with my NFL playoff predictions for the year, and I've sat and pondered them a little bit, and I even have my NFL awards winners. I think will win offensive awards and defensive awards. So I'm going to go through those, and I just kind of want your feedback on them.
All right. I'm going to pick a really good point to tell you my most absurd prediction.
Okay. So I don't have seeds. I think that's way too crazy. But in the NFC West, I have the Arizona Cardinals winning. I have been hot to trot with them for the last 2 months, and I just think it's a division. Everybody talks about how awesome the Rams are, but they've got some injuries on the offensive line, and I'm not sure I trust Matthew Stafford's back. And I just think that the Cardinals are a team on the rise, and I see them just kind of sneaking away in a division that may not even have a team get to 11 wins, but is exciting. They are super competitive, and you look forward to watching their games at 4:05 each week.
Leap for Marvin Harrison Jr.
Huge.
Plus the Justin Fry effect, as we all know.
Yep.
Everywhere he goes, they just win.
Yep.
So
I expect that
Elwood,
Kyler Murray is going to be Kyler Murray.
Exactly.
He's going to be more than serviceable, and I think that Marvin Harrison takes a huge leap forward.
Some days Kyler Murray is unbelievable and so much fun to watch, and some days he's going to lose you the game, and that's just who he is.
Yep.
Maybe this year he loses you a couple fewer, and it's a really good season.
Yep.
I have no pulse on the West, except for that I really think the 49ers might have the number 1 pick.
I just don't trust the Rams. I just don't trust the injuries. I don't like Stafford's back injury. And I think Jimmy G is he is your probably the best backup in the league if we're going as terms of what his resume has been. He was a good starter, an average to good starter.
Yeah, okay.
But he took a team to the Super Bowl.
Definitely worthy of being called a very good backup. How about that?
And outside of that, actually, I'm gonna pause. I have a few more thoughts on the West.
Do you find that absurd that I think the 49ers might have the number 1 pick?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
It makes sense. When people say it out loud, it sounds crazy, but I'm not really surprised if anybody has the number 1 pick. I mean, if a few things go wrong, they're so beat up at receiver.
But I think it's very possible. Brock Purdy wasn't that good when he had great weapons. Let's just say it that way.
I think that's fair. I mean, McCaffrey's been injury prone. Jawan Jennings is your wide receiver 1. Ayuk's injured. You drafted Jordan Watkins in the 4th round out of Ole Miss. He's kind of banged up, so it's like, who's even going to catch the ball?
Kittle.
I mean, he's so good, but you can count on Kittle missing a few games each year too, just with random injuries. So
the defense, I don't think is going to be very good.
I think we should pause the West conversation. I have a little bit more to say later. So for the East, I have the Eagles getting it done again. I just think the roster's too talented for them not to win the division.
And I think the rest of the division sucks.
I'm not going to go that far, but I'm going to continue.
Washington's winning 4 games. You think that's absurd?
That's absurd. They're going to win more than 4 games.
They're the oldest team in the league, right?
I still think that they'll win more than 4 games. Jaden,
you know what happens every year to the oldest team in the NFL?
They get hurt and then they don't perform. I just don't see it happening. I still think that their talent is there. If Daniels can be as good as he was last year, they're going to be good. He's incredible.
One day he is going to lead a team to a Super Bowl, but it's not going to be this year.
Yep. The NFC North, the Packers. This Micah Parsons trade only solidifies that. This is, I think, the best team in the North. I think the Lions have a slight downfall. I think their roster is also too good, but I just don't see them winning the division. I think it's going to be tougher for them than people think. My NFC South, just by proxy, if you can eliminate Carolina and New Orleans, is the Bucs. I just think that they're the best roster. I trust Baker Mayfield. For whatever reason, they've been able to figure it out with OCs leaving, and I think you trust that they have the pieces with Mike Evans, with Godwin coming back. They drafted Ibuka. They have McMillan, who's on the IR with a neck injury, but is going to be back at some point. They've got two more than capable running backs, and their defensive line's good. So, they're just the way their team is constructed just allows for them to continue, I think, to be successful. So now,
wait, hold on. I haven't disagreed with the words you've said since the last time I spoke, but where have you just passed the Vikings for some reason? Because I know you have a great big boner for their head coach.
I've really kind of sat here, and I think this is where I told you there's going to be a few surprises. My wild card team is Washington, I think Jaden Daniels is just that good.
Could be.
I think he's just that good.
Could be.
My second wild card team is the Lions, because I think
it'd be hard to imagine them falling that far.
And my seventh and last team is the Seattle Seahawks.
So 2 out of the West.
I think 2 out of the West. The West had 2 10-win teams last year. The Seahawks just missed the playoffs on a tiebreaker.
Not absurd. I don't see it, but not absurd.
I think that their team is just, we forget about them all the time, but they just consistently win. And
they're solid.
I think they have a culture. I think if
roster.
Darnold's good, I don't even think he has to be good. I think he just has to be okay.
Solid roster.
But I saw the vision for a long time with the Vikings, and I still do. And I think if there's a team that I'm wrong on, I think it's the Minnesota Vikings are really good and make the playoffs. But just the way that I sorted it out, there were just some teams that I felt like I couldn't leave off the list. And
so I still don't disagree with you on anything.
And they had to be a process of elimination. So I went as far to say I have my first teams out of the playoffs. So the 8, 9, and 10 seed. I have the LA Rams as my first out. I've got the Dallas Cowboys, my second out.
8 and 9, 9 and 8. Okay.
And then I have the Atlanta Falcons as my third out. And I think that the Rams and Cowboys both finish above 500. And I think that the Falcons are below 500 or only in conversation because of the division.
I was going to ask, they get four free wins practically.
Because of
if they don't go 4-0 in those games, they don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
Because of the division, I think that just they'll be there in the conversation. They'll be in the hunt because the Bucs, for whatever reason, won't be able to just put them away. It's strange. That division's always strange, and they never win that many games. So
I don't disagree with anything that you have said in the NFC. I think you're right. I would probably change a couple of teams. I would probably, for example, put the Rams in over the Seahawks. Like if I was going to pick a wild card,
they had the same record. Go look at
I understand.
Go look at the Rams' point differential last year.
I understand, but I see your case. I don't think it's any question in the South. I think the Buccaneers. You kind of waffled. You think it's between the two. I think the Buccaneers are 3 games better than the Falcons.
I just don't. The Bucs, for whatever reason, can't put them away. Whatever it is, they just can't. They'll just lose games that they shouldn't.
They might be elite. You think they could be elite, right?
I think they were last year. They were just complete clock mismanagement away from.
And they had a good draft. They had a good offseason.
They did.
I could see them being the other team.
Todd Bowles, he was bad in that game last year that they hosted Washington, but they're good. I was hot on them for the last 6 weeks of the season last year. I said this is a team that is awfully dangerous,
and they kept their roster together, and that's continuity is important. Are we going to hear from them when we talk about conference championship teams or not?
I think so.
All right.
I think so.
I think we might both.
All right, now we're going to go
in that direction
to the better conference.
And this is where the absurdity comes from me.
So my AFC West winner, for the first time in a long time, changes. I think the Denver Broncos win the West. I think they have top to bottom the best roster, and I know that you are not high on Bo Nix, but I don't know how because you watch him play and he's just really good.
Did you watch the playoff game last year? I saw the limitations.
That was not.
I see the limitations.
They couldn't run the ball if their life depended on it.
You can't deny their limitations to his game.
And they've gotten better. They've only added more around them.
True.
Their offensive line's too great. They were banged up going into the playoffs last year. I don't think
they're a playoff team.
I don't think that game was indicative of who they are. Still, for that matter, Bo Nix didn't turn the ball over. I mean, they struggled let's go back and watch and see the drops in the second and third quarter. It was ugly. It was a poor performance by that entire team and roster. The defense didn't keep them in it. Yeah. I'm not going to. I don't
disagree with you. But do you have 3 from the West though? That's my question.
I don't. The AFC East, Buffalo Bills, I think that they win the division, but I think they're fighting the Patriots off. I do. I feel convicted about that. If there's a surprise team this year, it's the New England Patriots.
We have our bet.
The AFC North, the Ravens get it done. For whatever reason, Tomlin's got this voodoo magic over the Ravens to where they always keep the division close because the Ravens can't beat the Steelers. I don't know why, but the Ravens just keep getting better. The rich get richer. They had a great draft, even picking the 28th, 29th pick. And Lamar Jackson speaks for himself. He stands for himself as a reason why this team will probably be perennial AFC North champions for the next until Lamar Jackson isn't physically capable of playing football anymore.
Agreed.
For the South, and I think that we both agree, we've had conversations back and forth, but the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think, will win the South.
Agreed.
It seems to change that, whenever the Texans have won it the last couple of years, now it's time for a change, and I think the most natural.
If the Texans receivers were healthy, I'd feel differently. But I think Jacksonville has something special. I think last year's season is going to completely flip. They're going to win some of those games, and they're going to win 12 games.
11 one-score games last year they played in? I mean,
they won, 2 of them? Something like
I mean, absurd bad.
They were 0-5 in their first 5 games and led in the final minutes of all 5 of them.
I mean, their starting quarterback would bring them back into games. They were down 3 scores in, and then all of a sudden it's like their defense just becomes Swiss cheese.
And Hunter might be special. We know Brian Thomas Jr. is special.
Yeah.
There's something there.
I agree. So my wild card teams for the AFC, I've got.
This is where we're going to have fun, Will.
Yes, I think so. So my, as I said, no seeding, but the Kansas City Chiefs will be in the playoffs. End of conversation. Yep. My second team, the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay. They were 9-8 last year, and their defense was one of the worst professional defenses I've ever watched in my life. But they're still 9-8 because they can just score that many points. If they get off to any better of a start, if they're even just 2-2 the first 4 games in, the Bengals make the playoffs because they just get hot down the stretch once Joey B figures it out. As long as he stays healthy, I don't think Hendrickson makes them a 14-point better defense, but he does make them better. And you hope that you fired a defensive coordinator that he wasn't able to command the room anymore, and for whatever reason you get new juice in there and they rally around them and play better. But I think that this team is still offensively Chase Brown's they're just too talented. I think that I just don't see a scenario where they're 9-8 last year, 9-8, and we talk about how awful the season was for the Bengals last year. Expect them, bookmark them for 10 games at least. 10 wins. I think 11's probably close to reality. Then my last team, I've said it, I wish I didn't have to spoil it as early as I did, but the New England Patriots, I think they just sneak in.
I think that you might as well just go to Los Angeles and slap Jim Harbaugh right in his face. Because he is way too good with this roster not to make the playoffs. That's about the only place I disagree with you.
Left tackle, Rashawn Slater. He's out the whole year. That's a huge
Things
loss.
could go poorly, I know. But you know how good he is? I tried to tell you last year when you said, they're still a year away. He's that good, Will.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you at all, but I just think that the division's gotten better. The Raiders are better. The Broncos are better. The Chiefs are still going to be there. And I just don't – 3 teams aren't making it out. So I'm taking the Broncos and the Chiefs to make it out of that division, and the Chargers are the odd man out.
All right, so you ready for my absurdity then?
Let's hear it.
There are going to be 3 out of the West. I'm pretty sure about that. There's going to be the Bills, Ravens, and Steelers. So we know those 6 are getting in. And those 6 to me are no doubt getting in, although we know for sure that's not going to happen because it never happens that way. But to me, those are 6 playoff teams without a doubt. Your Bengals, the Houston Texans, the New York Jets will all tie at 8-9 for the final playoff spot. Justin Fields, New York Jets will be 8-9. I'm pulling your leg. I do think it'll be the Patriots will be that third team. But I do think the Jets. It could maybe I'll say a 4-way tie. I came in here saying the Patriots would be that third team. I just wanted to say that I was going to have the Jets ahead of them. That is not how I feel.
So I have my first teams
but
out.
I think they'll all 3 be 8-9.
Okay, fair enough.
And one of them will have a tiebreaker into the playoffs.
So my first teams out are the Steelers and the Texans, and I have both.
Wait, you have the Steelers out?
I have the Steelers out
of the playoffs?
Yeah.
You're out of your mind.
I have the Steelers and
Have you looked at the roster and you're making that prediction?
Where's Cam Hayward?
In the middle of the defense?
He's not showing up to practice.
Not yet. He will. He's the best defensive tackle in football.
I've been Aaron Rodgers' biggest critic for years. I just think that the horse has run out of juice, and I think DK Metcalf is mid. If he's right, your playmaker, your killer playmaker on the outside.
I'm not counting on the offense.
Now,
I'm counting on the defense, which is going to be
this type of NFL. Early in the year it bodes to defense, but this type of NFL, come later in the year with just the way the game's called, it doesn't bode for great defense. Look at the last 3 Super Bowls, uber high scoring games.
Yeah, but most of the playoff games have been lower scoring.
But the Texans and Steelers are both probably 9-8 and above 500. And those are the only 2 teams I really think are in contention that I see. So
I think we mostly agree. I just don't know how you have the Steelers and Chargers out, knowing that Mike Tomlin and Jim Harbaugh are there.
Because I think that Rashawn Slater's that big of a loss. You're left.
He's a big loss, for sure. And that offensive line wasn't that good anyway last year.
We talked about four new teams. There's always 4 teams new in the playoffs every year on average. And in my prediction, there are 5 new playoff teams. So we'll see. Yeah. I mean, obviously the best thing about this is there's receipts. So
that's right. I have a question for you based on this. Every year, one of the top 4 teams, odds-wise, does not make the playoffs. This year, it's Buffalo, Baltimore, Kansas City, and Philadelphia. I assume you would pick the Chiefs to be the one.
There's none of them are not making the playoffs.
If you had to pick one.
If I had to pick one, I'm picking the Eagles.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Just because Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, that's all you have to say.
I think that the Cowboys are good enough. If the Eagles just and I think the Giants are okay. If the
Giants
Eagles
could be 500.
If Hurts gets hurt or they have an injury somewhere, I think
Washington's finishing last. That's all I know in the East.
That's bold. All right, do you want to hear my individual player awards?
I do.
So my MVP is Lamar Jackson.
Agreed.
Stats-wise, probably should have won it last year, but the argument could have been made in reverse.
Just like he should have won the Heisman a senior year.
Should have been in reverse with the fact that Josh Allen's stats were better. And so, the whole argument, if he meant more to his team, Josh Allen deserved to win it last year, but Lamar is going to win it this year.
They're both MVPs.
The Offensive Player of the Year will be Jamar Chase.
Wow. Okay.
The Defensive Player of the Year will be Aiden Hutchinson, who is on his way to doing it last year before he broke his leg in half.
Give me Kyle Hamilton in the Ravens sweep.
Not crazy. Well, Offensive Player of the Year.
Lamar Jackson.
Well, he's not going to win MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. That just doesn't happen.
Okay, well then Josh Allen's the other. But
okay,
I'm saying they're going to take it on both sides. Best player both sides.
Rookie of the Year. Just overall Rookie of the Year is Travis Hunter. His both ways are going just his prowess both ways. If he's good at both, he will win because it's just never really been done before.
The word out of New York is that Abdul Carter might be the answer to that one.
Well, timeout. My Offensive Rookie of the Year is Travion Henderson of the Patriots. Running backs are always, it's the easiest position I think for a rookie to be really good at, and he's got Jahmyr Gibbs written all over him. My Defensive Rookie of the Year is Abdul Carter. And I think that he wins it, but I think Hunter wins out off it because I think there's a chance Travis Hunter has 1,000 receiving yards this year. based on the way that offense is constructed.
I'd say he'll need some adjustment time at receiver.
Go look at Godwin and Mike Evans for years. Well, I mean, and I know that Liam Cohen is always, for the last year, was the Bucs offensive coordinator. He was with the Chargers, but they had Puka and Cooper Kupp, who were both over 1,000. And Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, his offense bodes well for 1 and 2 receivers, and I think Travis Hunter's the 2 receiver on that team, and I think he gets 1,000 yards. I think he majors in offense, and he's got a nickel or dime package that they bring him in defensively, where, and maybe that changes. Maybe he's much better defensively, way ahead of the game, and offensively they take a step back, and his role diminishes there. But for his pockets, being an offensive player will make him more money in the long run. And at the end of the day, they're businessmen, and I think that they will go towards where he can make the most money.
Unless you think he can be a Deion Sanders or shutdown guy.
Sure.
Is there an indication he can be a shutdown guy? Because if there is, there's plenty of money in that. If he's going to be a B-plus player at either one, you got to be a receiver.
Yeah, and I think that just as he'll transition, I think offense will. I think having him, if he's a good receiver, and you've got Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter as your 1-2, watch out.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Particularly after a year together.
In a quarterback with Lawrence, who maybe is the best deep ball thrower in the league. With those two pushing the ball downfield, watch out. That's going to be a tough offense to stop if their running game and offensive line can keep them upright.
A couple of pretty good running backs. Nothing special, but
they're bad. Etienne and Bigsby are bad.
Yeah, they're decent. They're both around average.
Okay. But
I've heard the slander that they're the worst running back duo in the league. It's just not true. Etienne's pretty good. He's got a nose for the end zone.
Well,
he's nothing special.
Well, he needs to not find it because I need Trevor Lawrence quarterback sneaks for my fantasy team.
Okay. Rule number 1, no one cares about your fantasy team, Will.
The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.